Hello everyone and welcome to today's episode of the Osasu Show. So much is going on politically. On today's episode, we have a compilation of events for you from the People's Democratic Party convention, which is scheduled to hold tomorrow and next tomorrow in Port Harcourt, River State, to the event put together by the European Centre for Electoral Support in collaboration with INEC. Don't go anywhere and we'll be right back on the Osasu Show.
In an effort to improve women participation in electoral process in Nigeria, the European Union supported democratic governance in Nigeria and the European Centre for Electoral Support in partnership with INEC on the 25th of September 2018 organized a two-day workshop tagged INEC's role in enhancing women participation in the electoral process. The event, which had in attendance stakeholders from the political, development and civil society milieu, provided an avenue for participants to address critical issues on the topic. Dr. Adekunle Ogunmola, INEC National Commissioner and Chairman Outreach and Partnership Committee, representing INEC Chairman, expressed concern over the poor participation of women in local and national decision-making globally and ensured participants of INEC's support in giving women a level playing ground in the electoral process.
For females to participate in our political and electoral processes across the country. Recognizing that the electorate is constituted by diverse publics, women, youth, people with special abilities, and men, the Commission is keenly interested in ensuring inclusivity and participation.
Other participants at the workshop also lent their voices to the discourse by highlighting the factors limiting women participation in Nigerian politics. The president of the European Centre for Electoral Support, Monica Frassoni, has this to say.
Question of women participation and possibility to have an impact on political life in many countries is a global issue. It is not something only for this country, although with the European Union we are particularly proud to participate to this INEC workshop that demonstrates that there is a real consciousness of the challenges ahead in view of very important elections that you are facing next year. As the European Centre of Electoral Support, we hope to give, even if a small, but a contribution into this very challenging discussion.
One key strategy for achieving this objective is to work with a wide range of stakeholders, including the academia, female politicians, and other female professionals, as well as media activists, in order to provide women with creating platforms. Another objective of this conference is to examine the reasons for the low representation of women in politics and electoral processes and to find ways of addressing them. Ladies and gentlemen, gender equality and women empowerment is a strong defining feature of a healthy democracy. As a Commission, our mission is to conduct free, fair, and credible elections for sustainable democracy in Nigeria. Therefore, stakeholders must provide support.
Our problem is not necessarily the women supporting women now. It's how do we get this 41% of the male to believe that women can actually run for office. But also, how do we start building capacities for women to build their campaign team in such a way that They have strong communication strategists that are developing engagement documents for them, and that we're reaching out to these unconventional groups of persons that ordinarily would not vote and convincing them of the need to come out to vote. Because if parties with the big monies are going out to give those that can easily be swayed by monies the monies to vote for them. And women don't have that kind of money to go to those group of persons. So while we still go out to them, let's go out to these educated ones in the cities on social media that money will not easily sway, and preach to them the gospel of voting for women, because it is time and it's a generation for women to start emerging as leaders.
Welcome back. I'm here with Monica Frasoni, who is the president of the Board of Directors, or the board of the Electoral Center for Electoral Support, ECES. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So today's program is titled INEC's Role in Enhancing Women's Participation in the Electoral Process and Creating a Synergy amongst women aspirants, politicians, scholars, and activists. You have also political experience, yes, I believe. And can you tell me some of the successes that you've been able to register back home and what you're looking to implement here via ECES?
Yes, I think that what I can say is one of the biggest success that in my political experience I have gone through is the fact that women themselves need to be aware of their own power. Because in many cases they are not aware or they are not made aware. That's why in this workshop we try in collaboration and in order to enhance the work of INEC to put in contact women which are working in very different areas, in academia, in politics, in civil society, in order to understand from each other what is that can be done in order to empower women in the moment of the elections. Because you know, elections is the end of a process. It's not an end in itself. Its result it probably is, but what we actually believe is that by combining three elements: awareness, as I was saying, better regulation, because that's very important, and financial support, which is also very, 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 if you have, everybody's aware, everybody's connected, but you have no money, no access, because regulations are not helping you, the whole effort will be very frustrating. And so I believe that the idea of this workshop is to present positive examples, but also to create contacts and ideas in order to change the situation as it is, and this change passes through new regulations and new financial means.
In Nigeria, we have a regulation that we have what's called the 35% affirmative action, meaning that 35% of those who are appointed in the cabinet, in the parliament, are meant to be women. But we don't see an implementation of that in Nigeria. So what advice would you give the government, perhaps, in implementing this regulation?
I think that, as I was saying before, I think that we have to make sure that women all speak the same languages in terms of women participation. The fact that you can show that you count on the ballot paper in order for this or that party to gain election is very important. And sometimes what I heard in my own party at a certain moment in my own country was, well, I should put some women on a list, or I should put some women on a quota, but this woman is not bringing me votes. And that is exactly the point. We have to make sure that people understand that women not only can bring vote, but can bring contents, and that can bring a better country. And I believe that unless we do it as women, nobody's going to give us anything, and nothing falls from the sky. So I believe that the awareness part and the capacity of having a sort of toolbox that can be used by all women in all political parties and civil society is the main challenge of this workshop. It is forbidden actually to use money in order to enhance this.
But it happens.
Oh yeah, it happens, but less than in other places. So I believe that simply giving money, let's say, would be to be in the same system. And we have to do everything we can to change and to make sure that the system does not request it. So I believe that in this sense, I would really insist on the network building and on the capacity of changing the rules of the game. This is how women advanced all over the world.
Monica, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So we'll take a break right now. You've heard interviews from this INEC workshop in collaboration with ECES. We'll take a break right now, and when we return, more interviews for you. Don't go anywhere.
I'm the Executive Director and co-founder of the European Centre for Electoral Support, which is a not-for-profit foundation established back in 2010 to implement electoral and democracy support projects in favor of the EU member states, and especially in support of beneficiary countries that they are requesting this electoral support. We work with all the electoral stakeholders, starting with electoral management bodies, here represented by INEC, but also as well with security forces, civil society organizations, media, electoral justice institutions dealing with electoral disputes, and of course on cross-cutting issues, including support to women participation in electoral and political life in many countries, Nigeria being one, but ECES since 2010 has been working in 35 countries, mainly in Africa and the Middle East, which are the main focus of EU and EU member states when it comes to electoral assistance. And we are very happy to be here at this conference that we are promoting with INEC in support of women participation and synergies that we can find between activists and political actors to promote women participation in political and electoral life, including the fact that our president is actually a woman, Monica Frassoni, that is here to facilitate some of the sessions with our own great pleasure.
It opens way for women to go forward. On the 25th in Kano, we had a peaceful rally for exactly what we are discussing here today. You know, in the north, like Kano, it's not easy for a woman to come out for leadership. So we don't even have a woman. So what we did now, we went on here, we had a rally to the Emir's Palace, we went to the government house, we went to all the party secretariats. Quite already, the Emir of Kano is a father, is with the women. He encouraged us on what to do. So now, for the first time, many women bought forms in Kano to contest. So we don't want them to come and say we are doing anti-party. What we did, so we have to visit all the party secretariats. We have to be with the IPAC. So what we believe now is woman. We are contesting, any woman that she's contesting in any party, we women will vote for her.
We've been talking for the last 2 days about women's political participation, and many of the barriers are already very well known. However, what is less well known are the strategies that we need to take us forward in Nigeria especially, and that is not to say that women haven't been working hard along with other men to increase women's political participation. So the first thing, of course, is to say that there is a lot of activity going on. There are lots of efforts. Some progress has been made on some fronts, and a lot of individuals and groups have been working hard. The second thing to say is that women need to develop their strategies more consciously, more broadly, and more deliberately. In other words, they should locate those knowledges as well as those partners that can help not just they and their groups or they as individual candidates, but all women in Nigerian political space to advance not just our numbers in parliament or our numbers in government, but our interests as women as a whole. So I've learned a lot from listening to different groups of women from different perspectives, media, activists, politicians, NGO leaders. I will say they should take other women along. They should open that door for somebody else. They should spend time to mentor somebody else, and they should put in some of their resources to advance another woman's goal, which is eventually our collective goal.
I was invited to come here. I just left Hot FM radio station, and I was invited to join this group here, the women participation in election process. And I'm really thrilled to be here. Actually, I'm one of those advocates that are working hard to bridge the gap, a gender gap in election and participation in elections. As a matter of fact, I've been talking to my campaign team, and we'll be looking for a deputy governor. And we think we will choose a woman to be a deputy governor in Imo State for the first time ever. Women is everything, we was just listening there. Women bear children, women endure a lot, women take care of homes. The same way they take care of homes, they can take care of government. They're honest, anything to do with money. Women always does well because they're honest, and financially they can keep the financials stable in the family. Men are workers, but women always find a way to stabilize anything to do with the government or conflicts and things like that. So the women role is highly important in everything that we do.
I would like to call on women to be fearless, especially women with disabilities to be fearless. Nobody would toss that opportunity to you. You need to take it. And when I talk about taking it, I would use myself as a typical example. I call myself, a woman who is leading in so many ways. I work closely with INEC, or rather the Access Nigeria campaign. And as the convener, I work closely with INEC to ensure that we begin to address issues of these barriers. We advocate to political parties and see how we can work closely to address issues of barriers. And when I talk about INEC, recently we worked closely with INEC to develop what is called the Form EC 30 PWDs, which is Election Day Written Instructions, Processes and Procedures for the Hearing Impaired. This has been a barrier, and when Access Nigeria saw it, we quickly came up with a solution, presented it to INEC, and now it has become a working document that is serving the hearing impaired people in the community. And also, recently the Braille ballot guide that was used for the Osun election. The Access Nigeria team, we sat down, and I am talking about a woman who is driving change. We sat down and we developed a Braille ballot guide and presented it to INEC and say, how can you, sample this in polling units for the visually impaired community to test run and see how effective it is. And it was done, and right now the whole of Nigeria is celebrating the piloting of a Braille ballot guide. I, as a woman, I didn't wait for the opportunity to be tossed to me. I sat down with my team, we worked on these things, and right now we're causing a revolution in our electoral process. So don't wait for that opportunity, you go grab it and fly with it.
In my program, I bring the studio to the street and interact with everyday Nigerians, taking their worries, their concerns, their questions directly to the ears of their leaders. Senate President Bukola Saraki, Distinguished Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, His Excellency Nyesom Wike, Governor Okezie Victor Ikpeazu, the Executive Governor of Benue State, Samuel Ortom. We interrogate the policies and objectives of key stakeholders in the political and development sector.
But do you agree that there were accusations that you made during the campaign that were not necessarily founded?
Me?
Yes.
My goal is to dig deep and find the truth, then give meaning, understanding, and solution to it.
In the primaries, the game is, I know that Saraki has a problem. He's a fine star that to make something with the government in power because they are targeting him. I know what is there. Aside that, I feel Atiku and Kwakwanzo, two of them. But it's likely they will give it to Kwakwanzo if care is not taken.
I actually don't know who is win among them, but I think maybe Atiku can win them, because Atiku is a politician. He knows the ways that make to win the election.
No, it is not totally abolished. It's still in existence. Taking Lagos, for instance, the gentleman governor, Ambode, is a worker and he has done perfectly for the masses. But now because of one single person, and the person vowed he cannot come for the second, and everybody thinking it was a child play, but it has played out. That is godfatherism. For one man to be in control of a whole state.
You can't talk of Nigerian politics without bringing in godfatherism. And that is the bane of the problem we have. The corruption we have in the country now is because of a political godfatherism. If we're able to abolish it, Nigeria will stand, and this economy will stand. When somebody has come up to be the god of a state, that without him nothing will happen. See what is happening in Imo State, see what is happening in Lagos State, in River State. We are trying to have that now. You know, Otele is a gentleman. He's the henchman of River State. But he's a gentleman that plays fine. You know, Wike will come up and will become that in the future. I'm seeing that.
Godfatherism. It's still on in the society. It's still on in this society. Like what is happening now, we can see and understand that such a thing has not been erased totally from the society. It has not even been erased, not to talk of totally erased. So it's affecting us fully. It's affecting the society. Everyone is feeling it, especially the poor masses. They are feeling it. It is just because they speak out, but they cannot do anything about it, because it's always the higher people that are the majority that carries the vote.
Godfatherism is existing since beginning of the world, because our father Adam is the one that came to the world, and through him we learn all this process. It's not our problem is only not godfatherism. Our problem is it the godfathers, are they sincere? Are they right people to follow? That is our problem. If you get your knowledge from somebody above you to do good, but in Nigeria it's not like that.
Godfatherism is as old as Nigerian politics, and it still exists in Nigeria. Like in Kwara, definitely you know in Kwara, you have the undisputable Saraki. In Rivers, you know the undisputable Amechi and Wike in different divides, in different parties. In Kano, of course, you know Shekarau is a godfather, and of course Kwankwasiya, leading the Kwankwasiya movement, is equally a godfather.
In Lagos primary, I would say that's a bit kind of godfatherism. You know, Tinubu supporting Sanwo-Olu, all those things. It still exists, I would say. So, it still exists in Nigeria.
This present government have brought back godfatherism in Nigeria. I believe in previous administration, it was go out on the field, play the game, if you won, you go. But now, we can see what happened in Edo State, that the former governor insisted that this person must be there, and he's there now. We can see what happened in Imo State, that the outgoing governor now, Rochas Okorocha, insisting that the son-in-law must be the next governor. And if you look at what is happening in Lagos, you will now believe that godfatherism is there. If the godfather said this is what is going to happen, and that will be the final, I believe godfatherism is still playing out in Nigeria.
That's it for today's program. To watch extended clips, you can visit our website, tostvnetwork.com, and follow us on social media at TOS TV Network, at The Osasu Show, at Osasu Ibn Adrian, at The Osasu Show Foundation, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'll see you same time, same place next week, and until then, take very good care of yourself. God bless you.